Welcome to this edition of Chamber Chat. Over the next few weeks, we're going to be exploring and highlighting our chamber champions. The first chamber champion that we're going to be exploring and learning more about is Emrys. And we're here at the Emrys Gantz Quarry observation point that's just been newly opened, and we're going to be talking with Mark Vincent. He's their human resource manager, and we're going to learn all about what goes on in these quarries behind us. So stay with me and we'll be right back.
Right Tire and Service on West Fort Williams in Sylacauga is the right place for you. We carry the right tires for your car: Goodyear, Cooper, General, Michelin, and lots more. Right Tire and Service is also your right choice when it comes to all of your automotive service needs. Whether it's an oil change, front end alignment, brake service, or air conditioner work, make the right choice the first time and stop by Right Tire and Service, Sylacauga.
This man is not a mime. He's merely expressing his joy of switching from his old bank to Heritage South Credit Union. His story unfolds through the rare, spontaneous exuberance of interpretive dance, which anyone can learn with a little help from Heritage South. Isn't it time you said hello to Heritage South?
Alabama State Parks, your other backyard. Brought to you by Alabama State Parks, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
We're back now, and I'm with Mark Vincent. He's a human resource manager for Amorous. Thank you for doing this with us today.
Happy to be here.
I'm really glad too, because this is something that has been a part of Sylacauga and this whole area for hundreds of years.
Well, we started mining these quarries in Sylacauga for a couple hundred years ago. So,
right.
Yeah, the marble's been here a lot longer than that.
It'll probably be a lot longer.
That's true.
After we're long gone.
That's right.
That's right. But in particular, we want to talk about number one, of course, is we're at the observation point here at Gantz Quarry at Amorous. That's just been recently dedicated for the city of Sylacauga and for everyone to come and see. But we also want to talk about, in the beginning here today, a little bit about Emrys, and they're a chamber champion for the Chamber of Commerce in Sylacauga, and just what they're all about. So let's go back and talk about Emrys. Came into being. It's been in the world for a long time.
Well, Emrys's history was originally a steel company. And then it wanted to migrate out of the steel company more into the minerals side of things. And so it started acquiring companies in the 1990s to branch into the minerals industry. For example, it purchased Georgia Marble in about 1995.
Which is as we look out here, that's way down the way. Yeah.
That's correct. And so, Georgia Marble had several plant sites, some in Georgia,
right.
some in here in Sylacauga, or one here in Sylacauga. And then in 1999, Emrys bought ECC, or English China Clay.
Right, they had been here for quite a while.
That's correct. And when they bought English China Clay, of course, they had plant sites all throughout the world. That's when Emrys kind of became Emrys. It actually changed its name to Emrys and said, we are now in the minerals industry, and this is what we're going to do. So while it's a fairly large company, and it's kind of in 47 different countries and 240 different sites, currently you think, wow, that's a big company that's been around a long time.
Right.
And that's kind of true, but it really became Emrys and what Emrys stands for and what it is today in 1999.
That's remarkable, because when I was looking at the information and the spotlights and saw that you're in 47 different countries, and the largest producer of different types of mineral, not just the calcium carbonate here, but other mineral products that are done at different sites all over the world.
Emrys is the world's largest producer of industrial minerals throughout the world. Now, what are industrial minerals? basically...
A lot of different things. When I was reading that, I couldn't even pronounce half the word.
Well, I mean, primarily, it is the raw material that God gave us to make things that we enjoy today.
Right.
Whether it be plastics, whether it be paints, whether it be
Makeup,
whether it be pharmaceuticals, whether it be, you know, some industrial minerals are used in batteries, you know, all this high-tech stuff. Some are used in chip making. So minerals are raw material for everything that we enjoy as consumers.
It's amazing to me, all the different things that calcium carbonate and the marble that we have here in Sylacauga go into. And this Sylacauga location has really been showcased and built up, and the mayor and the marble festivals have really brought that to the forefront, I think.
Well, I think, yeah, when Ted Spears and Mayor Wright first came to see us about the idea of a marble festival, there was no second thought whatsoever. We said, we're on board, you know, you tell us what you need and what you want to do, because again, Emrys is committed to being part of the community, and be it that Sylacauga is the Marble City,
exactly right.
It only made sense to showcase that.
That's exactly right. Now, your role with Amorous here in Sylacauga is you are the human resource manager.
That's correct.
And I did, when I was looking at some history and some information about Amorous, I really was fascinated with how community-oriented Amorous is, and how your workforce and your people want to give back to the community as much as they can and be a part of that community. And that's all part of what you're doing as far as with human resources, as far as making that work.
That's correct. I mean, Emrys worldwide is committed to sustainable development. And sustainable development means making sure that we're in this for the long haul. And that means managing our resources, our raw material resources, and the earth, and it means that we have to have a plan for when we do finish with the quarry to reclaim it and to make it, you know, either plant trees back or whatever the case may be.
That's vitally important, I think.
Exactly. So sustainable development includes community relations, which is some of the stuff we're talking about. It includes workforce and community development, and we're doing some other things as far as training and enhancement on basic skills that we do throughout the world that we're doing here in Sylacauga as well.
Now, you've been, if I'm not mistaken, since you got here, you've been here four years. You've been really involved with the workforce development, with the personnel, Talladega County, you know, with the Industrial Development Board and Authority on getting those people qualified and trained, and make sure that we have the job force for not just Amorous, but we have AMIA out there, and Heritage Plastics is here because of what we have here, and
IKO is located because of the marble industry.
Exactly.
That's correct.
So you, in preparing for all this, you know what kind of a workforce we need here to be able to fill these jobs, and have been working, I think, with the different agencies to get these people trained to be able to do these jobs.
Correct. And just this couple of months ago, we participated in the career fair with the middle schoolers at Childersburg, and encouraged them that said, you know, we've got careers here in the area.
That's all over.
And, you know, if you know what you want to do, or if you want to be a skilled person, or you want to operate the big Tonka trucks, you know, I mean, we've got all that here.
The big Tonka trucks.
That's right.
That's exactly what they look like, too.
That's right.
They are definitely big Tonka trucks.
Now, they're not really Tonka.
Not really
you know,
Tonka, but you know, but they're just big old trucks.
That's
they
what people know as a child.
I think most kids have, yes. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Sylacauga plant and how it fits into the entire whole as far as Amorous.
Well, the Sylacauga facility is actually only one of 2 Emrys sites worldwide that produce over 1 million tons of product a year.
1 million tons of product a year?
We produce about 1.2 million tons of product, maybe 1.3, and that's shipped out. Now there's one facility in Brazil that produces a little bit more than we do on an annual basis, but from a marble standpoint, Sylacauga Emrys is the world's largest operating marble mine in the world.
Wow.
Any
that's
company,
impressive.
any place, yeah, absolutely.
That's impressive. And now we have come through that and developed that, and you've been working on that. And because of that, what other companies have been able to come? We spoke about ICO is going to be here,
Right.
and then Heritage Plastics, and Omnia is a whole part of that big picture too, and came after Emrys.
After Emrys purchased ECC.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
And there was some rulings within the government,
Right.
and then we came to some agreement in order for Emrys to be able to purchase ECC. And
That had to be.
yeah, but again, it's
Had
all
to be
because
evened out, so everybody's even.
Yeah.
On the playing field. That's right.
it's all because the marble's here. And again, these are not jobs, these are not operations that will pack up and go to Mexico or Canada or anywhere else,
No.
because the marble is here.
Now, in the Sylacauga area, how many do you employ in this plant here?
There's 280 on site.
280 on site. Now, as far as to support employees and that kind of thing, are there more than that support this plant?
Basically, we're on average about with any other manufacturing facility, which typically says for every manufacturing job, there's 3 other jobs created because of a manufacturing job.
And that stimulates the economy and brings them into the area, and it's just been a marvelous adventure for me to learn more about this. I was raised in Indiana. We worked with limestone quarries and granite quarries and that kind of thing. So to me, for Sylacauga not to take advantage and with the marble festivals and do what they can with the resource, this wonderful resource, is just it's just remarkable that
Right.
that we've been able to do this.
So you mentioned limestone, so let me ask you a question.
Okay. Oh gosh. Okay.
So what's the difference between limestone and marble?
I would think marble is softer, a softer stone, and limestone's more dense. I'm really not sure.
Okay.
I used to know that, but you know.
Marble is actually limestone that's been under heat and pressure. And that's why marble is considered a metamorphic rock. It actually changed through the intercontinental collision, and under that heat and pressure, what would normally just be limestone. That's why you go, just a little bit west of here,
Exactly.
and you
Yeah.
start getting more into limestone quarries. But it's here in this area that goes literally up the east coast that limestone actually changed into marble.
Over the
So really, this
goodness,
belt.
I never knew that.
Yeah, you can actually follow this belt. Emrys has a facility in Baltimore, and you can follow this belt all the way up the East Coast. But where the mining operations are actually located tend to be where it's economically feasible to
Sure,
get to it. So
sure.
in some places, it may just be so far underneath the earth that it's just not economically feasible to mine.
So Sylacauga, Moretta Hera was the original. And they were
Well,
first here, or
Gant actually
And Gant
discovered it.
discovered
Yeah,
it, right.
And basically, Gant almost tripped over it. I mean, it was so close to the earth. I mean, it was, and so it was not. He first discovered it, and then they started mining it and started trying to do some operation, and then, of course, Moretta came in. And the interesting thing that Ruth Cook, I think, really portrays in her book,
She's done such a wonderful job with that too.
yeah, is what a great artist Moretti was.
Yes.
Moretti was.
To see this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a businessman, was never successful at a business. We all look at him and say, what a great artist. Why wouldn't he just be happy with an artist? But he really struggled to make it a viable business operation. But of course, his legacy lived on for sure.
Exactly.
And made it so.
So let's take a break here. When we come back, I want to talk more about the wonderful sculptures and our own destinies and why we can't be happy with what we're really called to be.
That's right.
So stay with us, and when we come back, we're going to talk about this great observation point and how it came to be.
Tire and Service on West Fort Williams in Sylacauga is the right place for you. We carry the right tires for your car. Goodyear, Cooper, General, Michelin, and lots more. Right Tire and Service is also your right choice when it comes to all of your automotive service needs. Whether it's an oil change, front end alignment, brake service, or air conditioner work, make the right choice the first time and stop by Right Tire and Service, Sylacauga.
This man is not a mime. He's merely expressing his joy of switching from his old bank to Heritage South Credit Union. His story unfolds through the rare, spontaneous exuberance of interpretive dance, which anyone can learn with a little help from Heritage South. Isn't it time you said hello to Heritage South?
Alabama State Parks, your other backyard. Brought to you by Alabama State Parks, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
We're back now, and in this part, we're going to talk about where we are right now. And we're in the Emrys Gantz Quarry observation point, and this has just been newly dedicated.
It has. We dedicated on the 22nd, and last week we officially got it handed over to the city, where the city's opening and closing and got their lock on it to. And they'll have it open from 9 to 4 is what they decided every day.
And that's probably a really good set
I think
of
so,
hours,
yeah,
because
depending on what season it is and everything
that's right.
else. So
it has to be adjusted.
yeah.
So at this point, I mean, we've got the fence up with the danger keep out.
Right.
We've got a beautiful parking area to park, and I can see so many possibilities to make this even more of a place for people to come and look at, as far as maybe a welcome center and picnic tables and just all kinds of great things, because the view here is magnificent.
It is really nice, and so part of the view is the green water, and everybody says,
What
well,
makes it so
what
green?
makes it so
Okay, what makes it so green?
The same reason the water is green in the Caribbean or wherever. It's got a white bottom. So between the sun's reflection onto the water and having a white, clear bottom, it is clear runoff rain water. So there's no mud on the bottom that kind of murkies it out.
And it's not fed by, there's
No.
It's just all self-contained.
That's correct. And speaking of being fed, a lot of people always ask, what are the two things in there? Well, those are actually pumps, because we actually use that water in our processing.
Within the plant?
Within the plant.
Huh.
So we pump water out to maintain it at certain levels.
So this observation point was open, and we had the dedication for it, and out here folks can come, and you've got explanations with the history of how it started.
We do. We talk about the industrial history. We talk a little bit about the artistic history.
Right.
We talk a little bit about the geological history, and then kind of a map to kind of say, here's where you are and here's what you're looking at, and as well as kind of what is calcium carbonate, i.e. marble, used for in products.
Yeah, and people are really astonished. I love to watch little kids. You tell them it's toothpaste.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
Toothpaste, and that white stuff on chewing gum, that's marble.
That's right.
And it's kind of like, will it kill me? No, it's not. No, it's not going to hurt you.
In fact, Tums is about 99% calcium carbonate.
So it's good for you too.
Absolutely. And all these little packets that you put in the water in these days and all that say calcium fortified. Calcium
That's what it
fortified is usually calcium carbonate.
Wow.
That's
Now see,
right.
I didn't know that. So that's
right.
different.
That's right.
So when you decided to do this observation point, does it look like is this what you envisioned when you?
It is. It actually turned out to be a little bit bigger than what we first envisioned. But Wolf, our mining manager, who absolutely is world class, recognized that we had to do something with the slope of the way things, and so for the runoff of the water when it rained and such.
Right.
If he had left it kind of the size we were originally talking, we would have been standing in mud every time it rained. So he just sloped it back to the back to kind of direct the runoff water to,
I
to
just
another
think
area.
it's really great the way it's laid out, and using the marble for the base. I mean, it makes this stuff is a wonderful base for a driveway or anything else. I mean, it really is. It truly is.
That's right. That's right. And some people, oh, why can't I take one of these rocks? We'll make more. If you take one of the rocks, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't think God will mind. I mean,
Yeah, that's right.
We'll make more.
Yeah.
Now all the rocks were these placed here? As far as the way they're
the
positioned?
rocks aligned here.
Right.
Yes, we set it up as what we refer to as berm, just from kind of a barrier standpoint, and made sure from a geological standpoint and a runoff and the sloughing and those type things that was
What's
awesome.
sloughing?
It's basically, if you,
I love the words. I
the
really
mud
do.
running down the hill from rainwater.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
So yeah, Wolf put a lot of time into planning and engineering it so that it could be here.
He gave
forever.
a wonderful explanation. I really enjoyed him that day when we opened this. And now the city you gave them the keys.
That's right.
You gave them the keys,
That's right.
and we're going to be opening and closing it and making sure everything is all right out here. Now tell me, let's talk a little bit about what are we seeing back in here? How far back? Where Emrys? This part here is one of the original
It's one of the original
mining
quarries.
holes,
They're
original quarries.
Correct. I mean, probably ultimately, because of the nature of this site with 3 different companies and 3 different quarries,
Exactly.
You can still, if you look at an aerial view, you'll still see 3 distinct quarries.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Ultimately, we'll probably mine those together.
Oh, okay. But that's like
That's
years
just
and years.
That's
and-
right. I mean, if our facility in Baltimore, why it only produces about a quarter of the amount of tons that we do on an annual basis. You go down in the mine, and the mine is much bigger because it's always been one kind of continuous quarry as opposed to these 3 distinct. So this was an original quarry that we are not currently mining out of.
Right.
We may mine out of the backside. We will no longer mine towards Fayetteville Road. And that's one of the reasons that we could do this.
Okay.
Is we won't be mining this way anymore.
Oh, that's
the
wonderful.
the quarry seam goes to the direction towards Fayetteville.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It goes that way.
Yeah.
Now, what we're looking at back here are the different buildings that support as far as where you're actually working with the product here.
Where we start the process, most of what you see is kind of on the crushing and the washing side.
Okay.
So we'll take up boulders after it's been blasted from the quarry, and then we start the crushing process, and we crush it down to about 3 inches in diameter.
Wow.
And that's when it becomes feedstock for our plant, and that's really where the processing starts.
So as far as geostone or large pieces of stone, that doesn't go out of here. All you're doing here is strictly, all
that's
that
right.
comes from
Alabama
Marble.
Marble. That's right. And so a lot of people say, well, how did we get out of the business of providing dimension stone, and this is what we refer to as kind of cut and polish. And they started doing something with the marble dust as early as the 30s.
See, I was thinking they did because chewing gum's been around a long time.
Yeah.
And
when you do that cutting and that sawing, you end up with a lot of waste. And so the actual mining of dimension stone ends up with about 70% waste. So
that's how
you start getting into it. Yeah. And ultimately, and also from a demand standpoint, marble really has been replaced with granite on countertops and vanity tops and those type of things, because it doesn't stain and it doesn't chip and those type things.
It's not as porous. Yeah.
That's right. Marble is pretty.
Yes.
But there are some downsides to kind of using it and for those type purposes.
Okay. So that's kind of gone by the wayside, but there's so many more other uses. Now, Heritage Plastics located here because
that's right. They were customers there originally out of Picayune, Mississippi.
That's right.
But they were a customer of ours, and they located in Sylacauga to reduce on the shipping
because
costs.
this just saves them a ton of money.
Absolutely.
And Heritage Plastics, they're adding that new rail spur there.
They are.
So
They are. Their
maybe
business
not
is
blocking the kids downtown going to school in the morning.
In fact, I looked in the Sunday paper where they talked about Alabama's exports, and they talked about plastics. I looked to see whether they mentioned Heritage Plastics. I did not see it in the article, but Heritage Plastics business has been
Picked up
strong
dramatically, it truly
the last
has.
few years.
And then now when ICO gets on board, and you'll be giving the product goes to them, to the calcium carbonate, and they use that in the shingles. Is that
and
correct?
the manufacturing of the shingles. That's correct.
Outstanding.
Yes.
It's amazing. It's just, and I think that we're all the city is so focused on creating more jobs, and we need jobs, and we do. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
But I think that the more we can market this product and to attract the people you're sending the stuff
That's
to,
right.
and save them the cost, that Sylacauga has an opportunity to really grow.
That's exactly right. And again, I think Alabama, rightfully so, should be as proud as we can be.
That's right.
As far as what we've done in the automobile industry and
Exactly.
And what we've
Honda
brought
and
in
everybody
and those
else,
type of
that's
things.
right.
But ultimately, those plants can be located anywhere.
That's right.
And I mean, obviously, a manufacturing plant brings a lot of supply plants. But this industry is not going anywhere.
No, and this product is here.
That's right.
And it's not going anywhere for another 200 or 300 years.
A lot of people want to know, well, so how much more do you have left? Well,
How do you even figure that
well,
out?
actually,
you know?
you drill in and you see how much you have.
Yeah.
And you take what we call core samples.
Core drill. I know all about core drilling.
Okay,
I do know
all right.
about that when we were building our McDonald's restaurant here.
Oh, you're
in
right. Yeah,
Sylacauga.
yeah. I did know.
In 1983, they core drilled and core drilled and core drilled to make sure that where they decided to put that store wasn't going to become one of the famous sinkholes of Sylacauga. You know?
Well, and even there's not some historical environmental problem underneath,
Exactly.
whatever it
Exactly.
may be. Yeah.
Exactly.
But so we do core drilling to but we're currently
Measuring?
operating on about 350 acres, and but we own about 3,400 contiguous acres.
Wow.
And so we've got what we call proven reserves. In other words, that's heavily regulated about what you can say that you have. You have to book that. And
With the government.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's all kind of regulation and guidelines on what
That's
they
right.
do.
So we have proven reserves for 40 years, but
Golly.
that's only what we've drilled. I mean, and that's only a small portion of the acreage that we have.
So Mark, let's take a couple minutes here and talk about Emrys's role in the community. You, of course, are on the Chamber of Commerce board.
Correct.
You've been involved in Leadership Sylacauga.
Correct.
What other things is Emrys involved in the community?
One of our big kind of fundraising efforts that we do on an annual basis is Relay for Life. We're a big supporter of that. And then obviously we participate with the Marble City Fest and
Right.
all of its outreaches, whether it be in part of the school and working with programs and things like that, as well as we have a number of people. We always have somebody in Leadership Sylacauga, but we also
Right.
have a number of people who are involved in different things. Craig
Different
Stickling's on the economic board.
And he's a member of Rotary, too.
That's right.
He's on the
That's
industrial board, and he's also a member of Rotary.
Alton Webb is on a member of the local committees as well.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it, is being in touch. So I want to talk too a little bit about the Marble Festival itself. Emrys is I love the displays that they set up
Right.
in the library, because the kids really love looking at those displays and seeing what all Omnia and Amorous and what all the products are that come from this place.
Well, I will say I learned a lesson after the first year or so, because when we started talking about displays, I thought it would be neat to kind of explain the process and how different products come from different processing.
Right.
But what I realized is people didn't care about the processing. They wanted to know about the mine and the rocks, and they wanted to know about finished product.
That's right.
The rest is
What
our
is it in?
business. That's right. And so we'll take care of our business.
And we're glad you take care of it. We truly are.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference. Okay, well, Mark, I want to thank you for being my first guest on our very first Chamber Chat to showcase and highlight our Chamber champions. And I definitely want to thank Emrys for being a vital part of our community and a Chamber champion.
Well, thank you for having me. We're
Thank you, Mark.
proud to be here.